If there's one thing that has driven me mad in life, now that's definitely a slight exaggeration, I would say especially after graduating from university, but even later when doing this YouTube thing and feeling fulfilled, it's been obsessing over the idea of finding a purpose in life. My purpose. This one thing that's supposed to be my calling here on earth. And dealing with the fear of finding it too late, or worse, not finding it at all. I would, and still sometimes do, but not nearly as often, struggle with questions like, what if I would have stuck with playing chess and I would have become a champion? Or what if I'm really good at something that I don't know I'm really good at, so here I am just wasting away my talent without knowing it? So ultimately, what if I was meant to be doing something other than what I'm doing right now? I think I've always believed in the idea of having a life purpose. Now, I don't mean the purpose of life as a whole. I simply mean my personal, individual purpose. An idea that has made me believe that there must be this perfect way to live my life and that I just need to figure out what that is. And I think that's quite stressful for a lot of people, but luckily for me, I don't think that way anymore. Not really. Now, before we get into the juiciness, I just want to say that there is so much to read on purpose. Articles and publications by actual researchers and psychologists. I'm neither of those things, so please, if you are searching for scientifically proven ideas and findings on this topic, this is not the place for that. This is not the right way to think of anything. We are just buddies having a conversation, and these are my personal thoughts on this topic. And also, while I know that it might seem like this video is going to be quite depressing, perhaps, based on the title, it really is the opposite. I actually believe that this conversation will be really encouraging and liberating. At least that's what it's been for me, so just bear with me. Alright, so let's define purpose. Now, I couldn't find one universally agreed upon definition, so I will just go with a definition that I found in an article, which I will link for you below. Your life purpose consists of the central motivating aims of your life, the reasons you get up in the morning. And then he writes, having a purpose in life is one of the fundamental factors of happiness. Without it, you will live your life less focused, less efficient, and you will often feel restless and stressed because you don't feel aligned with the things that you do. And then he brings up some examples such as living a successful life, making positive connections with others and enjoying those around you, and providing for your family. Okay, cool. So now we have something to go on. So basically, the things that a lot, if not all people want in life. So I guess finding your purpose then means finding a thing that will bring us one or more of those things that I just mentioned. And by the way, this video has nothing to do with that article in particular. It's just so that we had some sort of definition to go on. Okay, so this whole purpose thing sounds pretty clear to me. So what's the problem here, Lana? Well, as late as, I don't know, a year ago, I would have read that article, nodding my head, thinking, yep, holy cow, I need to find this purpose thing or else I will be miserable. But I have been reevaluating and I've been challenging those previous beliefs of mine, and this is where we get to the core of all of this. Now, I'm not questioning the value of the things that finding a purpose supposedly brings us, a drive, a reason to get up in the morning, something to push us forward and contribute to the world, and so on. I consider all of those things important, but I'm questioning if finding a purpose is the way to get there. So I would like to bring up a few points that I have been thinking about. So for starters, I personally think that the idea that each of us are here for some specific purpose, and that the price of finding that purpose would be like achieving the highest form of fulfillment, would be to minimize the human experience. We're not like razors where our sole purpose is to remove hair. We're not machines or things. And so I simply think that humans are far too complex for that idea. And I also think that it is limiting in the way that it might make us get tunnel vision. And this brings me to my second point, which is that I think that it can cause a lot of anxiety. For a lot of us, feeling like we haven't found it, whatever that means, or that we can't quite pinpoint what it is for us, can make us feel like failures or just really lost. And I also think that it can be seen as this impossible task where any purpose that we have in mind isn't big enough or special enough compared to others. And what even is considered a good enough purpose to have in life? And thirdly, and perhaps most importantly, I've started asking myself, what is the purpose of finding my life purpose? Is it supposed to be this magic spell for long-lasting happiness? Is it that once we have found this purpose, only then will we be truly fulfilled? I don't think that that is always necessarily true. And how about until then? Do we just settle for unfulfillment until hopefully one day we'll find our purpose, which may or may not exist? So if it's not life purpose that will bring us all of those things that we just talked about, the things that most humans want and need, what's going to bring it then? So this is my current philosophy on this. By living a life that aligns with the things that I value and believe in, and in doing so every day, instead of living my life thinking that there is this one big thing that I'm supposed to discover called purpose, which is supposedly going to make everything feel just right. So for instance, I value learning and developing my character, so I feel like I'm living purposefully when I write and read and have interesting conversations with people. I value new experiences, so I feel like I'm living purposefully when letting myself be led by things like curiosity and bravery and through keeping an open mind. I value my job and achievements, so I feel like I'm living purposefully when I'm being productive and organized and creative, and when I get joy out of those things. I value being a nice person, so I feel like I'm living purposefully when I say thank you. I value my relationships, so I feel like I'm living purposefully when I call a friend. And I value peace, so I feel like I'm living purposefully by learning to acknowledge when to step away from conflict and when I need to apologize. And the list goes on. So really, what I'm trying to get at is that in my book, I believe it is the many, many purposes, smaller ones and bigger ones, that bring fulfillment and all the other things that we talked about. Now, how can I be so sure that this is a better way of thinking about purpose? I'm not, and I can't be. But ever since having had this shift in mindset, I have felt, what is it that I felt? More at peace with life, I guess. So for now, I think I will stick with it. And now, speaking about being curious and open-minded, let's talk about our sponsor today, Skillshare. Now, I'm not saying that I'm going to start a podcast or anything like that, or am I? But I am a curious person and I like to learn about various things. So I'm currently taking this class on Skillshare called How to Make a Podcast, Plan, Record, and Launch with Success. And it is by John Lagomarsino, hopefully I pronounced that right, who is the head of production at Anchor, which is really cool. And I really found this class to be interesting so far because the way that he breaks it down just makes it really easy to absorb. As most of you know, Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of classes on a variety of things. I've been taking classes on there for over a year now, and I genuinely really enjoy it. Whether you want to take a class on creative writing or videography or plants, you will find it there. Now, if you would like to try it out yourself, I have a special offer for you. The first 1,000 people to use the link in my description box will get a free trial of Skillshare Premium membership, and after that, it's only around $10 a month. And that was all for today. Thank you so much for watching. And now again, this is not me saying that this is the right way of thinking of things. This is simply the way that I think of things right now, and I would love to know what you guys think. Do you think that it is true that we each have an individual life purpose? And I'm not talking about the purpose of life as a whole, I'm talking about us as individuals. And do you think that you have found your purpose? And what is that? And how does that make you feel? What's your way of navigating through all of this? I have so many questions. I think this is such an interesting topic. So let's chat about it in the comment section. And as always, I will see you there.